Pope Francis is ushering in a new era for the Catholic Church, and so are the crowds. Take a look at this image. It was taken on March 13th, the day Francis was elected.
One of the many challenges Pope Francis will face is getting the Vatican's financial house in order. Mark Phillips looked at the Church's history of secrecy and scandal.
The Vatican is more than the world's largest religious institution. It's a business in trouble. There are backroom financial scandals at Vatican Inc. In an old stone tower behind the papal apartment is the Vatican Bank. The Church's various departments, its priests and employees keep accounts here. Secret accounts, hidden from the prying eyes of international regulators. An Italian court investigating the bank found documents showing some accounts had been used for money laundering and other illegal, and for the Church highly embarrassing, activities. Vatican watchers like Marco Politi have studied the court documents that verified the bank's transactions have not always been kosher.
There was money of the mafia who was recycled through the channels of the Vatican Bank, and also bribe money to political parties in Italy went through the Vatican Bank.
With dark financial clouds hanging over the Vatican, the European Union insisted the bank open its accounts to public scrutiny. When it was too slow, tourists felt the pinch. When European bankers suspended the Vatican's credit card facilities, visitors couldn't use plastic to buy Sistine Chapel tickets. $30 million of Vatican money in Italian banks was seized and only released when the Church promised to reform. Now Swiss lawyer René Brulhart, who helped clean up other secretive European banks, has been brought in. But still the bank keeps many of its dealings private and not just from outsiders. South African Cardinal Wilfred Napier, who sits on a committee that's supposed to sign off on the Vatican's books, told us he still can't get the information he needs.
I'm one of those 15 cardinals who sits on that committee, and we sign our name to the report. I want to know that I'm signing something that is actually reflecting the truth.
There's another scandal with a girl who disappeared in the Vatican 20 years ago, and they say they may have found her remains. The Italian police are leading the investigation, but instead of helping them, the Vatican is obstructing the investigation. It's likely they knew about this and stayed silent. And on top of all those cases of pedophilia, this is just disgusting.
The list of controversial events involving Catholic priests or Vatican officials reads like a tabloid. Reports of sex abuse, pedophilia accusations, alleged large-scale corruption, and possible ties with the mafia. While the media, especially in Italy, has been having a field day with the scandals, the Vatican either stayed silent or rebuffed all accusations.
Well, David Lorenz, a director of a group called the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, doubts the new Pope will bring much change to the Vatican.
Nikki Davis says she was sexually abused by a Catholic brother, but she's no longer afraid to talk about it. Yet she says she knows of 2 other child abuse survivors who say they've been threatened not to talk to the Royal Commission.
Some victims are reporting having received death threats because the information, the knowledge that they have, their personal experience is too damaging to the Catholic Church.
Facebook in particular is the most appalling spying machine that has ever been invented. Here we have the world's most comprehensive database about people, their relationships, their names, their addresses, their locations, their communications with each other, their relatives. all sitting within the United States, all accessible to US intelligence. Facebook, Google, Yahoo, all these major US organizations have built-in interfaces for US intelligence. It's not a matter of serving a subpoena. They have an interface that they have developed for US intelligence to use. Now, is it the case that Facebook is actually run by US intelligence? No, it's not like that. It's simply that US intelligence is able to bring to bear legal and political pressure to them, and it's costly for them to hand out records and one by one, so they have automated the process. Everyone should understand that when they add their friends to Facebook, they are doing free work for United States intelligence agencies in building this database for them. And every other intelligence agency that can either hack Facebook or who can do a favor with US intelligence.
Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. The law was expanded back in 2008, and it allows the NSA to spy on Americans without a warrant.
And essentially, this would extend the government's power to warrantlessly wiretap Americans for another 5 years.
2 U.S. senators have asked the NSA just how many people it's spied on, but the agency's keeping their lips sealed, and you'll never guess why. They say dishing that information would violate your privacy.
Do you ever feel like someone's watching you? Well, if you're a UK citizen, the government is attempting to step up its public surveillance policy and even snooping on your personal emails. Despite CCTV cameras already a major fact of UK life, there's now plans to store personal data, including information from social networking sites. As RT's Ivor Bennett reports, it's the taxpayer who could be footing the bill.
Soon you could be watched everywhere you go in the UK, even where the cameras can't see you. All your emails, texts and phone calls will be monitored under a new anti-terror spy plan. The government will know which websites you visit. It'll even snoop on your private Facebook messages. No matter who you are, all your personal data will be stored for a year in a massive surveillance operation privacy campaigners condemn.
Britain's already one of the most watched societies in the world. The number of CCTV cameras is estimated at nearly 2 million. Now the government wants to monitor all electronic communication as well, including social media, taking surveillance to a level never seen before.
Just what you say in calls and messages won't be kept, but the government will know exactly who you speak to, when you do it, and where you are. It'll be stored by broadband and mobile companies, but security services will have real-time access at the click of a button, secretly living your life with you. Digital rights groups say it'll leave people living in fear of Big Brother.
Last 2 years, every single tweet sent in the US has been stored in a massive archive.
It's the ones being watched who are paying for it too. Cybersecurity experts predict it'll cost taxpayers over $1 billion to be spied on. Even then, there's no guarantee they'll be safe from other prying eyes.
Clear yet why the FBI would neglect to tell activists that there was a potential assassination plot surrounding them. What we do know is that new documents obtained by the Partnership for the Civil Justice Fund, a U.S. human and civil rights advocacy organization, have revealed that the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. military, and private corporations all cooperated together to monitor and investigate Occupy Wall Street protesters as, quote, domestic terrorists and, quote, criminals. Now, the more shocking revelation, the headline of this story, is that reportedly buried deep within the government file, mentions of a plan to use snipers to assassinate Occupy protesters and the movement's leaders in various cities throughout the country. These
video cameras caught trucks arriving at the World Trade Center from about August 23rd until every night until about September 2nd, September 3rd. And the trucks were arriving at about 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody else had left the building, including the janitorial trucks. And the trucks were leaving at 5 a.m. right before the AAA personalities of Wall Street got to work to start their day. Something was brought into that building that would help with the detonation. There may have been work done on the detonation before. It may have been going on for months, but whatever they needed at the very end, they came and brought in that 10-day period.
The purpose of that infiltration was what for?
Well, the purpose is what the Roman Catholic system has all the time as her own purpose, is to infiltrate, to penetrate all the areas of life where the Roman Catholic can have control and access for the coming world government. What that means is, in preparation for that world government, the Roman Catholic institution, especially since the establishment of the Jesuit order in 1541, throughout all these 500 years, they've been in preparation and through infiltration and penetration of every level of society in order to take over the world politically and religiously. There are two doctrines that define very well these dangerous goal of the Roman Catholics.
I wanted to know whether you would say a word. A lot of the people around the world know that the attacks on 9/11 were an intelligence black op, and so we were wondering whether you would say a word to support a real investigation that would get to the bottom of it, because it seems to have set off a fake holy war or a religious war.
It's very difficult to know.
No, but we know that bin Laden didn't do it, and there are also Jesuit networks that are helping cover it up. Will you say something, sir?